Hello guys, welcome to our talk show. Today we are really honored to have invited a TED speaker and also the TED content distribution manager, Lisa Bu, to be on our show. Hi Lisa, welcome to our talk show.
Thank you, it's an honor.
As a TED speaker, this is something you must be really proud of. And can you share your experience with us? How did you make it?
Well, it's really a surprise that talk happened because originally I gave that talk during a company internal meeting. So we have this retreat every year, usually in fall.
What do you do during the retreat?
During the retreat, we spent 2 or 3 days. The whole company will spend 2 or 3 days in a city outside New York. So we can really focus on what we have done this year, what we should focus on next year. And during those work presentations, we're mixing some personal talks. And 2012, that was my first retreat after joining TED. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give a personal talk to introduce myself, because when I joined the company, I didn't give a self-introduction.
I see.
So I said, well, what's the most interesting thing about myself? It's my love for reading. So I gave that little talk. To my surprise, everybody loved the talk. I was like, okay, great, it's done. 2 months later, I was having coffee in the kitchen, and Chris Anderson, that's the owner of TED, came over. And he said, that's a really nice talk you give at the retreat. Would you like to do it again at the main conference? I said, oh my gosh, of course I would love to do it. So I basically gave the same talk. Of course, I rehearsed more and get some wonderful feedback from Chris Anderson and the whole curation team. The biggest challenge for me was to overcome the fear, the stage fright, because I was never a public speaker. We had some wonderful coach from Broadway to give us tips.
Professional tips.
Yeah, professional tips. Like, okay, you should frame your mind about this fear, about this nervousness in a different way. You feel nervous because this is a really important topic for you. And you also should think of this talk not as a performance. You should think of it as a gift to your audience. When you think that way, then the focus is on your receiving side. And on the day of the talk, on the day of the talk, the theater was big. There were about 1,500 people there, but it was very dark. I could hardly see many people. I can only see the first 2 rows of people. So before I went on stage, I was looking at that audience. I was telling myself, I bet every one of them, that person is either a book lover or a book writer. So I'm among friends.
So you were imagining that, right?
Yes, I'm imagining so that it's not threatening. This is a friendly crowd. And then because I'm a TED staffer, somehow I feel a sense of being a host. So I told myself, just treat this as a dinner table. You have some guests in your house, and I just want to entertain them with a good story. I want my guests to have a great time. That's what I told myself before I went on stage.
Oh, really good tips. So the focus was changed, right?
Yes.
From focusing on how you behave to how much you can give, to share to the audience.
Exactly.
To your guests.
Yeah. Another good tip is, of course, practice.
Yeah. How many rehearsals have you done before? Did you done before the actual talk?
I did 2 rounds of rehearsal. So the first round was several weeks before the conference. The rehearsal was in the office theater, and the whole curation team were there. They give you feedback, and then they also videotape the rehearsal. So afterwards, you can watch the video, and it's really hard to watch. But then you can have kind of, you have to force yourself to watch it. So you can have kind of self-criticism. you notice a lot of things that you do unconsciously. So like I really noticed that don't just walk around, just stand there and then have eye contact with the audience. Also, that practice gives you self-confidence. Once you practice enough times, you're so familiar with your talk. You don't recite the talk anymore. You tell the story in a more natural way. I don't need to worry about the time because they gave me 6 minutes. It's really strict. Once you practice enough time, I know I can hit that time stamp like that.
Time.
I don't need to worry about time. So you don't get distracted. You can really focus on telling a good story to my guests.
And believing in yourself, you can do it, right? You can do it within 6 minutes.
Yeah. Wow. So those 2 things really helped. The second round of rehearsal was the day before. So that was on the actual stage. We test our clicker. We test our slides, we test our microphones, so you feel comfortable with the technical aspects of the talk. Again, you don't get distracted when you are actually giving a talk.
Yes. So it is kind of apply to all the TED speakers?
Yes. Some TED speakers, because they're more experienced public speakers, or because they know their stuff so well, we often say, use a happy birthday test. If you know your talk content as familiar as you are with happy birthday song, you don't have to memorize script line by line. You can be more spontaneous.
Spontaneous,
Yeah.
Off the cuff, right?
Yeah. But for me, because I need to have that insurance, I didn't have the same experience. So I really memorized my script, but memorized so well, I don't feel like I'm reciting. I feel like it's naturally coming out.
We watched it and it was really natural and beautifully done.
Yeah.
And I checked the video views the other day. It has reached more than 3 million.
Yeah, I think so.
On our platform alone, I'm not on other platforms. There will be much more video views there. So that shows how popular and how successful your TED Talk is.
I think the thanks is going to the idea itself. I don't really see. I care less about if people remember my name or like if if I have a great public speaking skill. I think the star. This is throughout TED Talks. The star of a talk is always the idea, not the speaker, not the performer. We don't want you to see, we don't want speaker to treat that talk as a performance. We want every speaker to treat that talk as a gift to the audience, to the world. Because that idea, if it's fresh and if it's strong, it's going to travel far. It's going to reach a lot of people and make an impact on that person or on that person's community or nation.
Wow, really inspiring. So those are kind of like the criteria, right? You choose whether that idea is worth spreading or not.
Exactly.
It has to be fresh and
strong. Yes. Oftentimes you probably think, oh, I'm just nobody. I don't have a very impressive resume. I'm not a celebrity. But hey, everybody has a very unique life experience. You just may have something that's worth spreading. Worth sharing. And you never know. Somebody may just wait. That idea may be just right for someone. That's why there are so many TEDx events.
Oh yeah, it's quite popular in China.
So
maybe hundreds of them there.
Hundreds of them in China. A lot of them are not celebrities. A lot of them you never heard of those speakers' name. But that doesn't mean that speaker's talk doesn't have a very powerful message, a very unique idea
to convey, to share.
So it's a very democratic process.
And usually maybe there's another thing related to TEDx you just mentioned. Maybe some of our audience are not quite familiar with the difference between TEDx and TED. Maybe here is the right time you can tell them the difference.
Okay. So TED conferences, we actually organize only 2 a year. TED is a very small organization. We have only 200 people. We just don't have the resources to organize many conferences. But many people, many audience say, can you come to my city to have a conference? We just said we can't. However, we want to respond, we want to satisfy that desire. So we have a program called TEDx program that allows local volunteers to apply to get a license to organize independently local events with local speakers giving talks in local language on topics that really matter to local community.
I see. And
So-
they have to follow certain guidelines from you, right?
Yeah, there's some guidelines. For example, it cannot be a commercial event. You cannot turn that into a fundraising event or public or product release party. You cannot have your sponsor's logo on the stage. Also, you have to film those videos, and then you have to upload those videos, those talks, the TEDx talks, onto a central TEDx channel. So for China, the platform is Youku right now. For other countries, the channel is YouTube. Right now, we have more than 100,000 videos on TEDx channel on YouTube. That's the biggest YouTube channel.
Like huge community.
Yeah, huge community. Oftentimes, those TEDx events become a great pool of fresh ideas for the main conference to use.
Yeah.
For example, some of the most popular TED Talks, they are actually originated from TEDx events. I think some give you two examples.
Yeah.
Brené Brown, her talk about the power of vulnerability, and another talk
remember that.
about leadership by Simon Sinek. They are all from
TEDx
events.
Ah,
Yeah.
So the TEDx events kind of like organized independently by TED fans, right?
But TED fans, really. Yeah. We don't have staff member going there. No, it's really let go of the control. We trust the community. They know what speakers, what topics are most important, are most interesting to their audience. Yeah.
Wow, great. And another thing I want to ask you on behalf of the audience is, we know that the maximum length of each TED Talk is
18 minutes.
18 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Why is 18 minutes, not more than that?
That's a change that Chris Anderson made after he purchased TED Conference from the previous owner. Originally, when TED was a commercial conference, many talks are 30 minutes or longer. After Chris Anderson changed the conference from commercial to a nonprofit, he changed the length to 18 minutes because he thinks 18 minutes is short enough to hold people's attention span, but long enough to explain a complicated idea in some details. One example he likes to use is Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream talk is 17 and a half minutes.
Oh, okay. I see. No, that's really interesting to know that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there must be some, big data and analysis behind it, right?
Yeah. So it's not a randomly selected minutes. There's a reason behind it. Yeah.
Calculated. Wow.
Yeah.
Good. And how do you select TED speakers usually? Like you mentioned, you don't just choose celebrities or people who want to promote the product. You choose the people who have the idea that are fresh and strong.
Yeah.
Right? How can you identify them? There are so many people out there. Without certain criteria, certain way, you pick those people.
Yeah. There are many sources. TEDx events are a great source. So if we discover some great speakers at the local events, we may invite them back to the main stage to give the talk. That happened to Simon Sinek and Brené Brown. We also have speaker nomination form on TED.com. Anybody can nominate others or themselves to be a TED speaker. So that's source number 2. Source number 3, we get a lot of recommendations from TED conference attendees, from existing speakers, from staff members. So it's a great source. Another source is the whole organization we read like crazy. So you read news articles or you hear radio stories. You say, oh, that's an interesting story. Maybe I can try that person to see if he has idea for TED conference. So that's another source. So there are all kinds of ways to get nominations. Usually we receive tens of thousands of nominations each year, but we can only choose about 100 for each conference.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's
that's
a very
work.
competitive process.
Yes.
But that, because it's competitive, so the speakers we find are usually top-notch speakers. There's another interesting way we we don't call it talent search because we're not looking for people with great public speaking skills. We call it idea search. So last year we did a global idea search online. So anybody can just use your cell phone, record like a 1-minute pitch, and then submit to TED.com. There's a website you can submit, and then we'll review, then we'll vote, and then we'll invite a small group of candidates to the New York office to give a 5-minute pitch. So then from there we pick. So the final list of 100 or so speakers is a combination of idea speakers we found from different sources.
And from around the world.
From around the world. Yeah.
As for Chinese TED fans and TED the followers, most of them they speak Chinese.
Yeah.
If they is English, this language is necessary?
Not necessary. For example, we have a Chinese artist. He gave the talk in Chinese with a translator there doing a simultaneous translation. We also have some speakers give the talk in Korean, French, and Spanish. So hopefully, when we have more resources to hire language-specific curator, we can put more people on the stage giving talks in their local language. It's not a requirement, especially for TEDx events. All those speakers usually give the talk in their local language.
Yeah, and I realized that your TEDx events in China, most of the speakers give talks in Chinese.
Well, last year the Pope gave the talk in Italian.
I remember that one. Yes. And also there must be a big group of translators who help with the translation, right? To help spread the idea into different countries where different languages are used.
Yes. So we have only 200 people on staff. However, the secret sauce to the success is this army of volunteers. So we have volunteer TEDx organizers. We also have an even bigger volunteer community of TED translators.
Wow, how big is the army?
More than 30,000.
Wow. More than 30,000.
More than 30,000. And I believe there are several hundred in China translating TED Talks to Chinese. I always encourage people who are learning English to participate. Why? First of all, you can use and practice English. And second, you get to work with a veteran translator because our translation process, to make sure the quality is up to our standard, the translator, once you're done with translation, then a reviewer, a veteran translator, will come in to review your translation and give feedback or give you correction. You can learn a lot from that
that's really
correction.
Good way to improve.
Not only that, you can also learn an open source subtitling tool. Right now we use Amara. I think that tool is maybe useful down the road for your career, down the road for your other projects. So that's another benefit.
So all these kind of skills can also look really good on your resume.
Exactly. And a third benefit is once your translation is published, your name will appear as translator credits on TED.com. You can really show it off to your parents, to your friends.
Indeed. Wow. So we're encouraging you guys here, if you are really interested and also want to really improve along with TED, right? Join the big army.
And you get a whole community of
wonderful
passionate people who share your interests, but they come from all kind of backgrounds and the cultures. So you suddenly you are in a bigger community.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just so many different kinds of
Many
benefits.
wonderful surprises might be there waiting for you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
there was 2 years ago when I was at Vancouver attending the TED conference. I met a translator.
Oh yeah, every conference we pay for their fee to go to conference. Usually we invite a dozen of them. Yeah.
A dozen.
Yeah.
How they're picked? It's like winning a lottery, or you have to finish certain tasks to be able to invite it.
Usually they are star volunteers. They have translated a lot. They are very active in their community. They help out in the community.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember one guy he's an Arabic translator. He personally translated more than 500 talks into Arabic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big star, and we invited them. And every time personally, I met many of them. Every time I met them, I just feel so humbled, so honored, because all of them have full-time jobs. They have family, they have kids. They still take out their precious personal time to translate. And translation, I've done it myself. It's a very time-consuming job. And so that's why I just feel so humbled, so honored to have that community of translators being with us.
Yeah. I can also, since that, that's also related to some of my experience, because I did some translation before.
Yeah.
But if the translation, the work, is really meaningful, worth doing. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, and then because you're translating, maybe your parents can watch the talk, and then your friends can watch the talk.
My name will appear there, and also really, I grow up along with other veteran translators with a big community. That's an honor to be able to do so, and time well spent.
And also I really think, from my experience, the way to improve your English, one of the most effective ways is by using it, by learning from corrections.
Exactly. So that's something you can do, right? You can gain from translating TED Talks.
Yes, exactly. Please.
Thank you so much. Well, Lisa, thanks so much for giving so many useful experience and tips to us.
It's a pleasure. And thanks for being so supportive of TED's mission.
It's our real pleasure.